This is class exercise number 1. The one I am focusing in right now is task C. This is this part right here. We're going to I want to walk you through in a video to talk to you about, to show you, I assume at this time that you have Visual Studio, the Visual Code installed. Microsoft Visual Code is installed, and what I need to talk to you about is we're going to use the IDE and the GitHub desktop with it, and we're going to create a file called Hello World. We're going to put this inside of the class exercise number 1 subdirectory in there. Again, I'm still composing this, so a lot of the stuff looks blank right now with it, but this is the file structure. This is what it looks like. I have put this under my the documents folder in my C drive. It doesn't matter where you put it, as long as you have a similar structure as what I asked you to do with it. In this assignment, I asked you to put under documents. It's fine as long as you know where it is. I have a subdirectory. It's called GitHub. The class happens to be IMED, which is a subdirectory of GitHub, is IMED 1316. If you're enrolled in the other courses, you're welcome to use the other numbers with it. It doesn't hurt my feeling with it. But this is what I need for you to have, is this right here. This is very important, how this, what it looks like with it, because we have 4 class exercises, 1, 2, 3, 4 directories, and we're going to put these homework directories inside of each one of these. You have a class project, the subdirectory. You're going to have some CSS, you have documents, and you're going to have images in there. So you have not created the index yet. You will, all right? We will. We'll talk about how that works with it. So just everything from subdirectory wise, this is what it should look like. Ignore the index for now for me, okay? I want to start up the Visual Studio with it, and I'd like for you to follow with me how I set this thing up with it, because I'm going to put everything in the same place where the GitHub desktop, and the same directory where the Visual Studio Code is going to have as well with it. So I'm going to do File. I'm going to do actually a new create a workspace, or these are the different types of options that you have that we're going to add in here with it. But before we get too far with this, let me talk to you about a little bit about some of these icons on the left hand side over here. If I click on the double icon, this is what's called the Explorer, your file directory with it. If you click on these little, it looks like a cube, 3 square cube, and another kind of floating square cube with it. Before we get started with this, I'd like for you to install a plugin. It's called Live Server with it. So if you can type in the word Live Server for me, and the one I'd like for you to install is Ritwick Day. Okay, the Ritwick Day. This is the one I'd like for you to install. Click on that for me, and it says Live Server Ritwick Day with it. And if you can please click on Install. It takes seconds with it. It's installing right now with it. Give it a second. And what it is you can actually see the live server side of this, and you know how it actually publishes everything with it. So it's just fine with it. So it's installed right now with it. That's very important. That's the first thing we need to do, is install the live server by Ritwick Day. Go back to your these double icons over here. These kind of like a little dog ear that's been folded, and we're going to actually use this right here. This is over here. So if you click on File, we're going to actually click on, we're going to open a folder. I'd like for you to open a folder this time. And this folder, I'd like for you to navigate for me. Again, it's under Documents, and I'm going to expand that. Ignore my other directories with it. I have a subdirectory called GitHub, and I have a subdirectory called IMED 1316. So that's the level I'd like for you to select it right now for me, is the IMED 1316. If you click on select folder, so it looks like this right now with it. So this is, let me bear with me. Let me just delete this right now for me, okay? Let me delete this right now for you. I'll start from scratch with it, so you don't have this. This is what it actually looks like with it. So if you can, this is what all of your subdirectories will look like. It must look like this, okay? So please don't put any spaces in your file name, any special character. It must look like this. If I uppercase it like a hump camel, I ask you to do the same. So if it's uppercase, lowercase, just go through the motion with me, okay? At this time right now, that's all I'm asking you to do. Later on, outside of this class, you're welcome to do your other stuff with it. If you deviate from any of the name conventions I have here with it, you put a space in there, a special character, or anything else is different in there, it's not going to link. That's my point. So please make this exactly what we're doing right here with it. So inside of this directory, we're going to actually, if you look inside this directory, I have class exercise with it, and I put in some files in there, and there's some stuff I already put in there. Ignore this. Yours is supposed to be empty. A lot of the stuff, our class exercise I downloaded, it's in there as well with it. So I got a couple of temporary files, but yours is supposed to be empty. Okay. So here's what I'd like for you to do, if you could for me. If you click on that folder, right mouse click on it, and you say new file for me. Okay. And if you type inside of that, and type in the word hello world, one word, uppercase H, uppercase W, one word, hello world, .html for me. Hit enter for me. All right. So this is what it looks like, the hello world program. This is what it looks like with it. It's a blank document with it. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more for you. So get this font a little bigger. Hold on a second. So what I have done is, as you can see, the font's pretty small. I'm going to zoom in by hitting the control button at the bottom of my keyboard and hit a plus sign. It's going to magnify this a little bigger for me. I'm going to click in there, and you can see how it actually enlarged that font a little bit for me to see. Now, bear with me as I go through this document. I'm going to talk to you with some few things that's very important that I think you need to follow as a guidance with it. So bear with me for a moment. So I'm going to talk to you. What you do is follow the code that I'm doing with me, and I want to explain as I go along. That's how my class exercises are. Okay. So I'm going to start out with the basic, what I call is the skeleton. Now make sure you have the hello world.html highlighted like I have right here, and the same file name with it. I'm going to start out with a couple of key things, and bear with me with some of the stuff that I have right now. If you notice, we're going to talk about what's called tags and attributes and properties and all this stuff with it. So bear with me in the lingo that I'm going to talk to you about, and what is a tag, what is the opening tag and closing tags with it. So the first thing, if you notice, I hit the lesser than sign in here, which is the shift comma button on here, and it gives me an option. I get to pick that, and it closes for me. So this tells me this is a document type, is the HTML document type with it as well. The second thing I need for you to put in is to tell what type of document. If it's an HTML, you can do HTML hypertext markup language is what that stands for with it. And if I close it by closing the greater than sign with it, it closes it with a / in front of it. So this is, if you look at, this is a pair of tags. This tag right here starts it, and this tag closes it. So anything in between makes up any web browser. By looking at this, says, hey, this is an HTML tag. I'm a web browser. I can open this up with it. The second one I need for you to look at, it's in your HTML page, there's two sections. I'm going to tab over so we can have a little bit of readability with it. I want to do the head tag. I hit enter again, and it closes that off with it. In between the head tag, I also have, this is one section of the code. The second section of the code, it's called the body tag. If you notice, I started doing this, and I hit enter, and it closes it. So you notice here's the beginning, and here's the closing with the /. Here is the head, here's the closing of the head tag. The body, closing, okay? And you notice how I indented in. So in your web page, a test question that I could ask you, what are the two sections of a tag? All right, it's the head and body. Anything inside of the head, this gets loaded first, and then this is what's inside of your browser with it. So inside your head, there's a couple of other parts that we're going to talk about, which is the title tag. Now, if you don't know what a title of your web page is, so let's say if I open up a web page, this is a web page that I'm going to open up here. Let me drop this down here in a second here. So this web page that I'm looking at, for instance, let's do this right here. Okay, so this web page right here has a document called document. Okay, so that's anything in the tab is considered if you want to show up there with it. So we call that's a title tag with it, and then the moment I could say hello world. Hello world is a famous infamous program with it, but anything between your head tag, you can be in the future, if you ever had me for JavaScript, your JavaScript will sit inside of your head tag as well. Okay, so but inside your body tag, let me take out some of this white space over here that we're going to look at some of the stuff with it. So inside, okay, I'm approaching almost 10 minutes, so let me pause for a second. I want to create part 2 following this. Okay.